Students, welcome. In this video, we shall discuss and analyze Sonnet 106 by William Shakespeare, and this is going to be a detailed analysis of the sonnet, something like line by line analysis of Sonnet 106. Okay, since Sonnet 106 lies in the first sequence of 154 sonnets by Shakespeare, it consists of the first part of the sonnet sequence. The major theme of the sonnet is going to be friendship, because these set of sonnets are the ones which are dedicated to his anonymous friend or patron, Mr. W.H. Okay, so the major themes covered in this video are friendship, patronship, platonic love, and to some extent we shall also discuss the sonnet structure of Sonnet 106 as we go on to the detailed analysis of the sonnet. Okay, so to begin with, Shakespeare composed Sonnet 106 so as to express the beauty and worth of his friend, okay, who was believed to be his patron as well. He lived during the time when the system of patronage was followed and practiced both by the rulers in Europe and artists of the times. Queen Elizabeth I, the then Queen of England, was a great patron of arts and literature. She hosted and sheltered many prolific writers and artists of the age. Okay, so this analysis of patronship, we had the discussion of it in the previous videos. Okay, then thus out of 154 sonnets, Shakespeare dedicated first 126 sonnets to his friend and mentor, the same anonymous Mr. W.H. This sounds like I'm repeating it. It sounds quite repetitive. Uh, that the fact about the anonymous fact of Mr. W.H. and the themes of love and friendship and the sonnet structure and the age when this practice of patronship was prevalent and all this. I'm repeating it for a reason, that all these points are very closely interwoven for our deeper understanding, deeper and prolific understanding of Shakespeare's sonnets. Okay, so these points you got to basically keep in mind. Then, however, the last 28 sonnets were discussed to a dark lady believed to be his poetic muse and love interest. Then it was later that it was deduced that the dark lady was Queen Elizabeth herself. There was a rumor that, and even some researchers could make out that maybe they just had a guess, it was Queen Elizabeth herself. Shakespeare devised his own style of composing sonnets. Okay, that is, he practiced the structure of three quatrains followed by a couplet. The last two lines of the sonnets, the couplets, are unusually witty, and they always brim with some kind of wisdom, wit, and knowledge, and they put across the message or actual theme drawn across the sonnet. Okay, in other words, the couplet gives the gist of the poem to the readers. Okay, then coming to Sonnet 106 by William Shakespeare, it deals with the futile attempts of the human artifacts like poetry and chronicles in describing the beauty and worth of the subjects of one's admiration. And here, who is the subject of his admiration? One anonymous Mr. W.H. Okay, so this is the major theme of the sonnet here, the futile attempts of the human artifacts, human attempts, human poetic abilities and artistic abilities like poetry, and even the chronicles in which he attempts to record the beauty of his friend. According to Shakespeare, these attempts are futile because the beauty of his friend exceeds all these attempts to the poet makes to capture all these attempts the poet makes here to capture the beauty and the truth and the greatness of his friend in his poetry and chronicles and other records. Okay, the poet implies the same to his wasted attempts in defining the true worth of his friend Mr. W.H. Okay, so now if we look at this sonnet, you can have detailed analysis of it, which begins with, when in the chronicle of wasted time I see descriptions of the fairest wits and beauty making beautiful old rhyme in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights. Okay, so this the first stanza, the first quatrain of the sonnet, where as discussed he speaks about the wasted attempts in defining the beauty of his friend. Then according to Shakespeare, the beauty of a person is beyond the power of words, and hence that is why he says this, that it can't be explained in words. Okay, one can only express awe and wonder at such beauty, and the poet enlists the examples of his sonnet in order to substantiate the above premise. Okay, and line of thought. Then thus he moves on to the second stanza, second quatrain here, where he says, then in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, I see their antique pen would have expressed even such a beauty as you master now. Okay, so then he begins with the example of chronicles and their wasted attempts in recording the beauty of contemporary men and women. Okay, the poet witnesses these descriptions of fairest wits and denounces them as, according to the poet, it was a sheer waste of time. The descriptions he gives regarding the beauty of the beautiful people were found in the old rhyme. Okay, by old rhyme he means old scripts, especially old poetry scripted by the other older poets. Okay, he includes in reference that even the other poets who have tried to record and capture the beautiful things and also the beauty of people, even their attempts have gone wasted and gone vain, as his own attempts to capture the beauty and greatness of his friend. Okay, worth of his friend. And they praised the fair ladies, the older poets, and also they praised knights who were long dead and gone by the time the poet could read about them in the ancient chronicles. Okay, these people are dead and gone by. Okay, so he says, then what is the use of recording the greatness and beauty of these people in poetry and chronicles? Thus the poets claim that attempts to record the beauty and worth of a person is mere waste of time. The line of argument is about mortality of human life and temporariness of one's beauty. While the beauty is short lived, human life is prone to unpredictable death and demise. Okay, that is the reason he says it's waste of attempts. They're trying to capture the beauty of worth or worth of a person. Hence, it is meaningless to try to preserve the beauty of mortals through poetry or any other written form or document. Okay, so I think this brings us to the middle part of the poem. The next quatrain, next stanza, and the concluding couplet we shall discuss in the immediate next video. Okay, so kindly do watch the next video.